We will always have impact on the environment, but it's whether or not the environment can recover from our impact.
My name is Stanley Joshua. I'm the Director of Integrated Facility Management. I got my start when I was living in Germany, and I noticed that everything was recycled. Sustainability or recycle was already part of life, and that's kind of where sustainability to me it is. It should be natural to you. But we'll use composting for an example. Composting was here and it was tried several times. That wasn't as successful campus-wide, so went, did the research, talked to a few people, and said, okay, this is probably a few things that we can correct. 20 tons of landfill that were no longer put in landfill, now went into composting. So that was huge. That was a project with students and faculty. We're always thinking about sustainability in everything we do. It is in our interview questions. It's also in our annual reviews. You keep hearing it enough, then people will think, yeah, it's important.
I'm James Sidney, Program Operations Manager for Transportation Services. As a tri-campus, we have the UPass program, which is a transit pass for students, faculty, and staff. As well as we manage a parking program. We went from managing a program with physical paper permits and actually mailing all of that stuff out to a virtual program. So basically we got rid of all of our paper, plastic name tags. So that was a big jump for our program. We hopefully changed someone's mind to actually try out a sustainable commute option.
My name is Jim Gell. I'm an associate professor. I do a lot of active learning in my sustainability courses. I also chair the sustainability committee for our campus. Sustainability to me is social equity, environment, and economics sustainability. You recognize that it's the people part of it that's the driver. I try to work sustainability in where I can in all of my classes, so students get something out of it by doing a real project, but they're also giving back to the community by doing something that the community needs. And I also have sustainability classes that I teach, in which case the students are asked to put together a proposal for a sustainability project. I also helped start the Giving Garden on campus to, one, be used as a place for learning about urban gardening and sustainable agriculture.
I'm Julie Palumbo, and I am an instructional lab coordinator. First and foremost in our labs, we always try to reuse any type of materials that come through the lab, and we try to be mindful of the stuff that we do use in our labs. We collect all of our styrofoam and all of our plastic film, and I recycle those offsite. And then I also have this UWT Green Lab resource packet that I made that I share with our students. We can send some of our products back to the manufacturer and they will recycle it for us.
Okay, my name is Cheryl Greengrove. I am currently the Associate Vice Chancellor for Research on campus. If I say what UW Tacoma is good at, is working with the community. I've never worked on a campus whose boundaries are more porous than this campus. We got a call from the mayor. The mayor of Tacoma said, come sit on our environmental commission. That's the kind of place it is. And so the idea was always that the work that we're going to do at this university, the community around us, our backyard is our lab.
My name is Julie Masura, and I am an associate teaching professor. Cheryl Greengrove and I, we have a lab group in which we teach undergraduates how to do research. And I specifically looking at plastic pollution in the ocean. So that's really foundational. It's looking at our impact in the world oceans with respect to single-use plastic. On the education side, I have my students out in the field communicating and educating the public as much as possible. We sail around the environmental tall ship called the Adventurous, and it's through those community partnerships that it has grown into such a large program. It is so important that we communicate science to the public.
I'm Tom Kuntz. I'm a professor of environmental policy. A lot of the work I have students do involves homework where they have to go and do something. I've been doing research on how community groups work on fixing the Puget Sound ecosystem that has been under a lot of threat and now is starting to recover thanks to a massive effort by government trying to figure out how to fix it.
When I was in K through 12, they were very big on sustainability. And for me, I grew up in an inner city school in New York City. We didn't have access to fresh fruits and stuff like we do now, right? The local grocery store, unfortunately, was more all the things that were probably not healthy for you as a growing child. And that was kind of where I focused on, well, these children now are K through 12, They try to put it in their curriculum in their school, in their lunchroom. And I can see the importance of having good food for energy, right? Your body is needing fuel. That part was a huge impact to me because I didn't realize that that's probably what a lot of us were going through at the time, and we thought it was normal. I was bussed out of my bus stop where I lived in Queens, predominantly Black and brown people at that time. And I was bused to a majority of other cultures. I noticed that their lunchrooms and facilities and everything else was very aligned with making you a better student. And food was one of the first things. We never had that in the inner city school. I had the privilege and honor to meet with students to talk about what we do on the campus as facilities and what are some of the characteristics and attributes that we have on the campus. And then why we should be interested is kind of what I talk about. Even the smallest pebble thrown in the largest volume of water still makes ripple. Our buildings are friendly in the sense that you can come in and walk through. And a lot of times we have placards and they actually highlight that from anywhere from reusable concrete to repurposed wood that was part of the building, and we made it into benches because there's a lot of people behind the scenes every day, gardener to the mechanic, and they're doing this every day and they're constantly thinking about sustainability.
My name is Ellen Moore. I'm a full teaching professor. My involvement with sustainability on the curricular level is that I have created the first and right now the only environmental communication courses on this campus. Maybe folks have seen, we just got news that they have measured the plastics in our blood. I think that's something that has really gotten people to take notice. I was fortunate enough to be able to lead the sustainability committee. I think one of the events I'm most proud of is starting the annual Pie in the Face, where students, they get to ask the questions. If the professor gets it wrong, they get a pie in the face. What could be more joyful? In terms of my sustainability in my curriculum, we do a plastic-free challenge. It's a 3-week process, and what they have to do is they first have to go a week noticing their plastic and keeping it in a bag. The second week is when they have to start to try to avoid plastic at all costs. But the third week is basically where we debrief. And the point of doing this exercise is really twofold. One, we live in an environment that sets us up to pollute. Second, it's a really practical exercise in how to be sustainable.
I feel like I see UW Tacoma kind of becoming like a hub for sustainability. I think it would be great, since I'm doing this myself, is recycling styrofoam and plastic film for our labs. I would really like to see a program on campus.
More campus housing. The more people that live here, the less people are commuting here. Well, one thing that should be said, transportation is the biggest feed on the campus footprint. The less people commuting here, the better for the campus. I'm excited for the downtown link. That's going to be, no pun intended, a link to other services that they'll use heavily.
So there has been a lot of starts and stops. My students were the first ones to come up with putting, the compost in the regular trash and the recycling. So we would have these audits and we would see that people put trash at the blue bin and compost in the gray bin. So the intentions are always there, but it's all about finding a way to make sure that there's a sense of accountability from the users, right? We were invited to do a lecture at an ocean pollution course, and we were invited, and I brought students to do the talk. I'm like, I can talk, but why not you? Those students, they blew the whole class away. I just kind of stepped aside. And a kid from the back, he said, hey, I just read a paper about plastic in blood. Let's talk about this article. And so it was really neat to see that student say, well, yes, but.
We've done a really good job overall in our operations, but then we leave stuff on when we're gone for the day. That's huge because plug loads take anywhere between 30 to 45% of our bill. Imagine. So we've reduced our consumption by 15%, and then another 3 years after that, again by 15%. So what I would like to see for the foreseeable future is to have some solar on our building. The idea is that the campus becomes so self-sufficient that our input and our outtake zero each other out. I would like to see us have some kind of Earth Day or Sustainability Week when fall starts. If we're just introducing them when they first get here, all that should be part of that curriculum. If you can do something like that, where it's just a sustainable kind of a party where you just have music, a lot of games, and impactful, and also educational at the same time, but it's so subtle, it can speak volume.
I think sort of big picture stuff. I take the example of all the diversity and equity inclusion. We spent a lot of resources, a lot of time, had special committees, and hired people into high administrative positions whose focus is on diversity, equity, and inclusion. I would love to see similar effort happen for sustainability.
Just providing housing, allowing students to not have to drive as opposed to putting the burden on them to figure out where do you go for groceries, right? Obviously, we want to get the Husky Sustainability Fund off the ground. And we now have a halftime sustainability student coordinator, which is great. But we want to have something that really drives us forward, and that needs to be staff positions whose job it is to help move these things forward. I think we're starting to build that momentum. The campus leadership needs to buy in, right? They need to make this a big deal. The big thing is recognizing that it's not just about environment, it is about people.
I have a lot of ideas as to how UWT can be more sustainable. I really appreciate facilities. Their work is pretty powerful and organized and pretty dedicated. I've noticed that facilities has really been at the forefront of making a lot of these changes. I would love to see a green roof on our campus because you could draw students into it, because students could be a part of making it, they could be a part of maintaining it. But I also think it helps with runoff. I think one aspect of our campus that's tougher is what constitutes recycling and what constitutes garbage. I think that our future work needs to be focused on resilience. What would it mean to be resilient if we get more heat domes, or if wildfires are closer by, or we have less access to water? How would we be resilient there? How do we plan for that resiliency?
Water bottle, done. We give them away every year, They last for a week and then students are back to plastic water bottles. If I could say one thing, water's free.
Like, if you don't do anything else while you're on campus, just turn off the lights. Second would be put the right waste in the waste stream.
I guess I'll go back to the eating thing. It's very simple to have a meatless Monday.
The easiest thing that everybody can do, eat something that doesn't have meat.
The simple habit, I think, would be using less plastic.
I would say simple things, right? Carry your own water bottle, carry your own coffee cup, carry your own straw. These are like little simple things you can do. Turn off lights, stuff like that. Just be aware of your resource use. Try not to be wasteful.